Come on up. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's get you the mic. No, hang on. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Don't. What happened to your foot?
Injury during dance.
Okay, don't walk. You're still using a fairness product. Why is that?
It's actually, I'm habituated to it now. Since childhood, my mom used to force me to put Fair and Lovely, and now
I call it fair and unlovely.
I know. So I still remember there was this show in the MTV where there was this teenager model, and she was very proud of her dark skin. And since then, I only use cream for my oily skin, not for the fairness. But I still laugh at the time when I remember that mom used to really, she used to actually bully me, telling that I use Fair and Lovely, you have to use it too, and she's very fair. I'm still lovely in this color.
You are. Any guesses what the fairness industry in India is worth? Any guesses? $450 million. So this is called commercializing racism. You can dress it up any way you want to. It's called putting money on racism. But it's such a deep prejudice that what we want to celebrate on our next conversation is women who have stood up against this racism, who have called it out, and have stood like bulwarks saying, we're fine as we are. I first want to put our hands together to welcome somebody who I have enormous respect for. You'll be hearing from her later in the evening in a solo session as well. But she recently starred in a video called India's Got Color. And I think some of you would have seen it. Any guesses who I'm going to call on stage? Ratna Pathak Shah. Let's put our hands together for Ratna Pathak Shah. And remember, Ratna has a solo session in the evening, but I want one of the girls who raised their hand and said that they do use a fairness product and hasn't spoken to raise your hand. Someone who hasn't spoken? Show Ratna again, how many of you are using fairness products? Okay, second row, come up here. Or let me come down to you, it'll be quicker. So, why?
Because I am from Gujarat, and a lot of people over there have fair skin, and then people used to ask me, oh, so you are not Gujarati, are you from South India, are you from Bengal? And I used to feel offended, and that's the reason I used it.
You can see the protests from the other regions, but there are all kinds of reasons to rationalize prejudice. Ratna, what's the worst one you've heard? I just said it's nothing but racism, you can dress it up any way you want.
I agree entirely. And all I remember was that in my own family, when a girl was born, there were two reasons to mourn. One, that she was a girl, and two, that she would be dark.
Yeah.
So that was something that was just a double whammy. And it bothered me then, it bothers me now, and it bothers me most because in this day and age, in the 21st century, we are still talking about this. Yeah. I'm appalled at that thought.
Absolutely.
कि कमाल की बात है.
बिल्कुल. और इसको आप कुछ भी कह दीजिए, ये straight forward racism है. आप कुछ भी कह दीजिए, ये वो ही है. And there are women, as I said, Ratna's been in that wonderful video. I want to welcome on stage now Varshita Tatavarti. She describes herself as a dark plus-size model, challenging the conventional notions of beauty. Varshita, can we please have you on stage? So Varshita, we've had young girls here talking about how they're still given a complex about their dark skin. Did you go through that?
Absolutely, especially because I grew up in the 90s and we didn't have a Beyonce or internet or awareness about celebrating yourself. It was all about Britney Spears or Barbies, so it was very difficult. And I grew up in North India, so.
And now you model for Sabyasachi.
Yeah, things change in the 2020s.
So I hope you'll be able to inspire all the women here who are under pressure to wear fair and unlovely to stop doing it. Come, please join us. And now I want to welcome on stage somebody who put her money where her mouth is. That's what counts. We can all say these big, big words, but do we actually look away when we have money to make off it? When they may sponsor events like this? when they may give us a huge modeling deal, there's somebody who actually said no to a 2 crore deal for a fairness product. Enormous respect for Sai Pallavi, the well-known actor. What made you say no? And how? Oh, okay, give it up for Sai. What made you say no?
Okay, so hello everybody. Hi. And you all know what happened and why I had to say no. It's just that I've been one of you. I've been equally insecure during one period in my life. It took a million souls to actually reach out and tell me that I looked beautiful the way I did. My first film, Premam, I was accepted with my pimples, with everything I thought was a flaw. But everybody loved me for the way I looked. So I thought I'm in a place where I get to inspire, or at least when I grew up, I did not see somebody who was at least saying normal. So I felt that if I was going to help another 10 people out there, I consider myself blessed. So that's what I did. That's all.
Thank you. Please. And in conversation with these 3 courageous, beautiful women, and we're calling them the bold and beautiful, not like that cheesy, horrible TV series that some of you may be too old to remember, but truly what it means in today's India. I want to welcome on stage our moderator for this conversation, Seema Hari, who herself is a dark-skinned model and a colorism activist. Seema, can we please have you on stage? Seema's here all the way from Los Angeles to be part of this conversation.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone feeling? It's almost 3 o'clock, coffee time. Thank you for all the energy and thank you for staying for this panel. And I want to thank each one of you personally for joining because this is such an important discussion to have right now. So I'll start with the word colorism, right? The word colorism is such a new term that it does not even pass spell check sometimes. This term basically means discrimination against people of darker skin tones. And we see this everywhere in the world. It's not just an Indian problem. It's all over the world. It still is rampant, even in the United States, where there are so many dark-skinned models and actresses. So, and even if you want to forget about this term, every Fair and Lovely commercial is there to remind you that, you know, if you don't lighten your skin tone, you might not find love, success, or even jobs for that matter. So to discuss this discrimination, I wanted to open up this conversation so that all of us can realize that, you know, beauty is in every skin tone and that beauty is defined by us. It's our perspective, and we can redefine beauty if we want to. So I'm so honored to be here with these fabulous women who have not only fought colorism in their own impactful way, but have inspired many of us around the world to start having these conversations, right? So starting out, let's start at the very beginning. From my own experience, one of my friends just gave birth to a baby girl, and she told me that as soon as she had the baby, all her relatives were calling her from India, and without a doubt, every relative asked her if the baby was a Gori or a Kali. And that to me was so tragic, because it brought up my past trauma of living in India and growing up here in Bombay, and every single day being ridiculed about my skin color. As you can notice, I'm wearing this patch that says Kali. This word was used to ridicule me for all of my lifetime, and now I'm reclaiming this word because I'm proud to be Kali. And I think we should all be. So I want to start with, how did you guys get first acquainted with colorism? When did it start? When did you realize that the society had a bias for some kind of skin tone or some kind of beauty? Varshada, I'll start with you.
I think for me it started way back in school because I'm a South Indian, but I grew up in Delhi. And like I said, growing up in the 90s was not very easy because a lot of my classmates, back then Dusky was not in, so a lot of my classmates would bully me at school, and I was also made to sit separately in the classroom with other South Indian girls who looked like me. So it was really hard because things like that take a toll on you early in life. And I always hoped that, you know, once I went back to my cousins in South India, things would be different. And I was born in Vizag, so I kept going back to Vizag to my grandparents' home. And even then I saw my cousins putting Fair and Lovely and Pond's powder on top of it because they wanted to look like like the girls in my school in Delhi. And I was shattered and I didn't know where I belonged, because girls like me wanted to look like the other girls and the other girls were not quite accepting of me. So it was definitely very difficult. And in India, in general, there's this socially constructed notion that fair-skinned women are more beautiful and more accepted. But this is what I've been fighting for. I've been fighting this all my life because I have a dark skin tone and I know I can't change this. And I've come to learn to accept it and I'm really loving it now because I think it's beautiful and I'm feeling really beautiful because I'm myself now.
So great to hear, so important. Ratnaji, you want to add?
Well, I did not personally ever go through too much of the kind of experience you're talking about because I guess my skin color is sort of acceptable. It's neither here nor there. So, chal jata hai. But that doesn't mean that I didn't see what was happening around me.
Yes.
And it was ridiculous how much criticism there was. But even then I remember feeling, and today also, I feel like addressing this. Okay, what is it that makes us feel that a dark skin is an unpleasant thing? What is it? Is it a sort of a visceral thing? Is it a construct that we have just absorbed? Is it something deep down inside of us? Until we address all these things, it's going to be just superficial. Today we say dusky is beautiful. Tomorrow we'll say white is unacceptable. Whichever color you were born with, that is the least important part of you. That's the way I look at it. And somehow we have to find ways to get this message across. That it's not gora ya kala. Yeah. It's not the extremes. It's the acceptance of diversity across every single aspect of our lives. And we in India are specially lucky. And I don't see why we don't make use of our absolutely superb stroke of luck. That we are in a place where diversity is a given.
Exactly.
You cannot get away from diversity. Everyone grows up learning 2 languages, right or wrong?
Yes.
Everyone grows up eating 10 types of food, right or wrong?
Yes.
Wearing hundreds of kinds of clothes. We are a hotbed of diversity. और हम लोग गधों की तरह एक के पीछे भाग रहे हैं. क्यों कर रहे हैं ये? And we must, all of us, think about this. What is it that causes us that? I had a friend whose daughter, my friend obviously is dark. So her daughter came up to her once after school with a cake of soap saying, why don't you wash that color off you? Now that's something that's, I can't even imagine what my friend had gone through at that moment. And yet, this is the way people talk to each other. What kind of culture are we boasting about when we have no qualms about calling a newborn child, अरे ये तो काली है? किस तरह का culture हम लोग इतना सर पे चढ़ा के बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ? So it is time to address all these uglinesses that we keep hiding under the pretense of being a highly evolved culture of 3,000 years. हमारी संस्कृति को re-examine करने की बहुत सख्त आवश्यकता है.
So true. And like you said, Sanskriti is culture and culture is created by us. It's not spoon-fed to us. We have the ability to change it. And Sai Pallavi, I know that you just spoke about rejecting a fairness cream endorsement. And you said that you also felt like, different from the rest of the entertainment industry. Do you want to speak about how you came into the entertainment industry and why you felt different coming in?
So firstly, it's just that we grow up seeing a lot of people who have perfect features, a perfect body. So I always thought, on screen, we see them and then we feel that, oh, they're perfect.
Excuse me? On screen you meet perfect features and perfect creatures?
Exactly. That is what we believe because she looks that beautiful, she looks that fair, she's got perfect features. We consider them to be actors and actresses. So that's how I was. I grew up seeing Trisha and Simran and all of them. They had perfect figure, they had great body. But then there was one point at which I didn't know whether I wanted to become an actor. But there, I always had this insecurity when I was in Georgia doing medicine. So I was with these Georgians, people who were very fair, and then they didn't have pimples, but I had all of this. And I didn't know whether I could accept this or accept myself for who I was. And then I come back to India, and I'm so happy that Alphonse picked me for Premam. I was so nervous the day the movie got released. I was wondering, what if people abroad are going to be there teasing me? What are our guys going to say? They're obviously going to say, I don't look like Simran, I don't look like Trisha. So this is going to be bad news for me. And then I ended up seeing tweets after I went back to Georgia. People were actually happy seeing someone in their own skin. And that made me feel so confident about myself. And then I wondered, okay, maybe that is all it is. Maybe if there's somebody up there, a lot of people will feel very happy about how they look. So that is how I felt when I got into the industry. And I'm blessed that I worked with directors who liked me in my own skin, and they did have me put on makeup before, say, pre-shoot. But then they saw that it was not the real me, and I couldn't emote as much as I did without makeup, so they asked me to take it off. So finally, this is where I am, and I'm personally very happy that I happen to be the one over here, really. Really.
That is so true. It's all about accepting who you are, right? And something so superficial like your skin color that you can never change. How can you not accept it? And actually, I actually truly believe that melanin is a superpower, and I think everyone in India is blessed with it in varying amounts. And I live in the US where people have to put layers and layers and layers of sunscreen to just be out in the sun, in the California sun, and I can just go out and be myself.